Hello everybody, this is David Lipschitz here from DAWS, DAWS, David's Ancient Wisdom School. In my office, center of my universe, the universe I create for myself. I was talking to someone the other day and I was teaching Tai Chi, and I said, being normal. What's that about? Someone said they're hard of hearing, and at other classes other people have got other problems. And that's normal for them. And that's a blessing in disguise, because maybe it allows them to learn something that they don't otherwise know. So being normal is, we try to benchmark against something that is normal, and we're trying to say that's normal for people to be all normal. But my opinion, belief, faith is that my normal is against my own normal. It could be high, low, depending on my personality. It could be introvert, extrovert. So there's thousands of parameters. When we do IQ tests and so on, we get definitions of normal. And then we try to be that normal, and we forget to be ourselves. We don't even know who we are, perhaps. So I would like you to, for the next week, on Shabbat and so on, is to act normal, but not act normal. To be who you are. To say, I'm feeling positive, more positive than my normal, or more negative than my normal, or more happy than my normal, or more. And if your normal is down, then maybe over time you want to push your normal up. Maybe you like it there. And if you like it there and you're happy there, then that's your normal. If you're up here, you're more active, running marathons or playing tennis championships or whatever, or really busy life, maybe you normal in a different kind of way. Maybe we need to have a discussion about what it means to be normal, and why we're all trying to be normal in terms of other people's perception of normal. So you may have noticed that I've reorganized my office a bit. Put my books, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but top level, these are my books. These are the Torah and some Buddhist teachings and some Christian teachings and some Muslim teachings and the Goal and a Vitamin Bible and other things on the top. Core Light Healing and these books by Barbara Brennan. 2 ducks. Prayer books and other books, renewable energy books. And then this level down, third level down, is the Zohar Commentary. And the Zohar is over here, next to me. The sacred Zohar, that's the original Zohar in Aramaic. And then my office. And I could get a green screen and shut this out, but this is different things I'm working on. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff here, and there's more stuff there, and there's all kinds of things. There's the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. There's my Cranfield certificate. There's my UCT certificate. There's a nice piece of art. There's another nice piece of art. Here are some dates when I get a bit hungry. Then I have a date. And I feel good, because even at 57 years old, I still have a date, and it's safe. My wife still loves me even when I have a date. I'm having this kind of date. And you've heard of honey, milk and honey, the land of milk and honey. And the honey is date, palm honey. So my reorganization of my office is designed to get me more in touch with you, and you more in touch with me, and there might be more alterations. And let's see what we're doing today. Today we are doing Parashat Vayekhel, and we're going to look in the Tanakh, and it says Vayekhel Moshe et kol edat b'nei Israel. And Vayekhel is Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel. Let's go and look at that online and change the view. We're here in the Chabad online Torah in Hebrew and English. You can get content in Hebrew only, both English only, and you can also show Rashi's commentary. But I'm not showing Rashi's commentary. It says Moses called the whole community of the children of Israel to assemble. And in Hebrew we have that word here. So if we take the word Vayekhel, we go to Google Translate, and we go here, we go return, and then we go there, then we get perhaps problems. Will crowd, so assembly, crowd, Keilah. If we go and put a hey on this side, we can get the Hebrew alphabet, the keyboard in Hebrew, you can find the hey, community. So these are the words around what's going on. So let's go back to here, not there, here, and let's take the first bit and say copy that bit, Control C, and go here, and then go to the beginning to press return because it's on the wrong side again, and then paste that. It says, and Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together. So we have Vayekhel, which is the name of the Parashah. The Parashah is normally named after a word, and the word is sometimes the first word and not always the first word. When you have a long sentence, then it does this and then everything's out of alignment. So if I just go here, for example, and I press return, and then I go here, I press return, then I start getting things more in line, but still a bit out of line, but that's okay. We can be out of line. Let's go back to here and say, what did Moshe, say in the name of the Lord? So Moshe, Moses, a prophet, is speaking as an agent of God. 6 days may work be done, but on the 7th day you shall have sanctity, a day of complete rest to the Lord. Whoever performs work thereon shall be put to death. Now, one of the things about Torah is that there's no time in Torah. So one doesn't really know how long this might take. Suppose that I endanger the environment. How long will it take the environment to say, I've had enough, and send a plague? The environment maybe says, I can't breathe, so I'm going to give you a breathing illness. I want you to get out of your traffic and your stress in getting to places and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to force you to work. I'm going to force you to move your office to your house. Whether you work in an office building or you work in your office at your house, still working. But I've been studying the Zohar, and I've been learning about possibilities, and every word and every phrase and every sentence and every paragraph and every chapter and every book has got 70 meanings, 70 possibilities. And as an environmentalist, it struck me that perhaps we need to have 1/7 of the time off. And those 1/7 are two types of 1/7. 1/7 is to give the earth a rest for 1/7 of the day, every day, and to give ourselves, as humans, 1/7 of rest per day. And when you're in court and the defense attorney, the lawyer, presents his case before judgment, he finishes his 2, 3, 4 hour lecture to the assembled multitude, and at the end he says, "I rest my case." And in that resting is the opportunity for discovery. Learning to meditate and meditating, whether it's by running or by sitting on a cushion or by doing Tai Chi or by going for a massage or any one of 1,000 possibilities, any way of resting. Getting away from the computer, getting away from the electronics, being with your family, quality, private time, 1/7 of your waking time. So let's go and look at that 1/7 and see where we get to. So yeah, 1/7, let's suppose 1/7 is 1/7 of 24 hours. So 1/7 of 24 hours is 24 divided by 7, which is 3.42857,143, which is 3 hours and part of an hour. 0.428 of 60 minutes. So 0.42857,143 times 60 is 25.7142857, which is 25 minutes and part of a minute, which we call seconds. So we take 0.7142857 times 60 and we get 42.86 seconds. And the 0.86 is 86 hundredths of a second. 1/7 of 24 hours is therefore 3 hours, 25 minutes, 42.86 seconds. So now, let's say for the Earth. Maybe we need to allow the Earth in each of our time zones to rest from 1 a.m. until 3 hours, 24 minutes, 42.86 seconds later, which is 4 or 04, 25 and 42.86 seconds. So maybe we end at 04, 25, 43, or maybe easier 04, 26, or maybe easier, let's just put this here, we round up 04, 26, or in another lingo 4:26 a.m. So that 4:26 a.m. curfew, which seems like a horrible word, allows the earth, the environment, to have the rest it needs. And maybe it means we need to switch everything off during that time. No electronics. Our power stations are going to have to run, or our battery backup is going to have to run, but it should be running at minimal, allowing the earth to rest for 1/7 of 24 hours every single day. All the lights should be off. Animals should be allowed to rest. The environment should be allowed to rest. There should be no cars killing billions of insects per day on the world's roads. Maybe even trillions of insects a day. Plus animals get killed on the road. Plus people get killed on the road. At least for 3 hours, 25 minutes and 42.86 seconds. There's no unnatural deaths. There's no accidents. whether the accident is someone hitting a snake or a fly or an insect. None of that. Imagine that that's all we need to do from the external environment point of view. And I call this external environment. If we go take that, just move it up here, then we need to say, what is the internal environment? Internal environment. This is human. So then I say, okay, let's suppose there's 3 hours, 25 minutes, 42.86 seconds in a human per day. What is that? Well, let's suppose we sleep for 8 hours a day. Not everybody sleeps for 8 hours a day, but let's suppose we're sleeping for 8 hours a day, which means awake for 24 minus 8 equals 16 hours a day. And of that 16 hours a day, we need to rest for 3 hours, 25 minutes, 42.86 seconds. Or, as we rounded earlier, 3 hours and 30 minutes. To round up to 30 minutes, easier. So, no traveling in cars. We can travel in our minds, we can go anywhere. By the time for us to be with us, we don't give it ourselves enough time. Ourself. 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 Self. We don't give ourselves that time. That to do. I mean, it sounds like a lot. You know, if you run 3 hours, 30 minutes up, 3 hours and 30 minutes, rounded up, 2 hours is 4 hours. If we divide that, divided by 16 waking hours is 1/4 of our awake time. Allowing us to be awake. Let's see if we can make this bold. Okay, we can't. Or not in the normal way, but I'll mess around with this. Google Keep, a notepad. So, is it possible that the Sabbath, I'm not saying that people should stop the Sabbath that they're doing now, in whatever way they recognize that Sabbath, whether they're taking off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Wednesdays. I've been taking off for many, many years. I like to work on the weekend because I get no interruptions on the weekend. All my clients know that I'm off on Wednesday, so I have 3 days a week of being untouchable. Although if there's emergencies, then I allow myself to be called on those days. Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. But when I was researching the Parashah, and I thought about 1/7 of the week, 1/7 of a week, I started thinking about 1/7 of a day. One seventh of a day. And then I started thinking about that 1/7 of a day in two ways. For the earth, allowing the earth to rest for 3.5 hours, or maybe 4 hours a day, and allowing ourselves to rest for 3.5 or 4 hours, or to be precise, 3 hours, 25 minutes, 42.86 seconds, every single day, while we're awake. Now we know there's an environmental crisis. We know there's an external environmental crisis. We know there's an internal environmental crisis. There are many crises. We know there's war going on. External conflict is a mirror of internal conflict. Here's the Strategic Development Goals, 17 goals that the United Nations and a bunch of clever people got together and created. And if you fix one of them, you might unfix another one. And I don't believe that there is anybody looking at all of them at the same time. But I can show you how to do it. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires skill, courage, etzem lev, if you watched the previous video. It requires education, it requires knowledge, it requires reading, it requires meditation, it requires studying ancient wisdom. It requires understanding the possibility of Torah, whether that's Old Testament or New Testament. Well, the Torah is the Old Testament, and the Good News Bible is the New Testament. I've got a Good News Bible up here. I don't know if it will show you on top row, or if it's the Quran, or if it's Buddhist teachings. Or if it's Zohar, or here. So, what if solving our environmental crises could be solved in a really simple way by switching everything off for 4 hours a day? Which doesn't mean everything's actually off. It means we're running ourselves minimally. So what can our batteries run? Whether the battery's pump storage or the battery is a battery, in terms of the kind of battery you find in our cell phone, for example. During that 4 hours, we don't pollute the planet at all in each time zone. We allow the planet to catch its breath. I'm going to repeat that. We allow our planet to catch its breath. Just as our planet sent us a warning 2 years ago and said, I need to catch my breath, so I'm going to send you a respiratory illness to show you that I can't breathe. And we switch everything off for 4 hours a day while we're asleep. The lights, everything. No one's traveling, so we need lights at night for security and safety, but if no one's traveling, no one's outside, just for that 4 hours, unless there's an emergency. And if there's only one car on the road or one person on the road, they'll be easy to spot. They shouldn't be there. Unless they've got some emergency, or they're a doctor, or they're an electrician and they're going to fix a hospital, or someone at home is having a breathing problem and it's an ambulance or a doctor, or one of the computer systems crashed and needs to be repaired. And there can be a multitude of reasons why someone can be out. But it means there's no planes flying, there's no cars running, there's no taxis running, there's no buses. It will require a change in scheduling, but we've got the computer technology to help us to reschedule the flights so that flights don't land, or maybe even fly over that particular time zone during that particular time. And maybe it means we use a little bit more fuel because we have to change our route, but we give the earth the rest it needs, and the earth can say, I rest my case. And then internally, I'm awake for 16 hours a day, and in that 16 hours I've got 4 hours of self for my running. I suddenly have time for that, for my time with my family, away from the computers, away from the technology. for Tai Chi, meditation, walking, swimming, exercise, any kind of meditation, any kind of self-work. And if you've got a watch, I don't wear watches. I don't want to be tracked constantly. I want to have that time when I can go for a walk with my dogs or with my wife or go to Tai Chi and turn my phone off. A day of rest, is it only a day which is 24 hours? Or could it be 3 hours, 25 minutes, 42 seconds every day, which at the end of a week, a 7-day period, makes 24 hours. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom to the people observing the Jewish Sabbath tonight and tomorrow, to the Muslims celebrating today, to the Christians celebrating on Sunday, to the Buddhists, and so many other ways of interacting with universal energy, God, the infinite, universal intelligence, unbelievable depth, major wisdom. Let's celebrate life, and let's see, maybe we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, by resting the earth for 3.5 hours a day and resting ourselves for 3.5 hours a day whilst we're awake. Thank you.